Do you want me to just use my laptop while I go man the camera?
What's happening?
I don't know what it wanted to do too, but it's there. You guys need
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to bring to the podium Bishop Dr. Evans Clover, who is the president of the Council of the
Shall we pray? Gracious and sovereign, the one who establishes nations and economies. Thank you for the safe travels and for this roundtable discussion hosted by the governor of the Bank of Ghana. Is it? Johnson, Siama, and his team. Advisor and translator in clarity of thought, integrity of heart, and unity of purpose. May every item here advance the good of God. Stability and present with respect. Our analysis grounded in truth, and our decisions be guided by justice and compassion. Bless the friendship between Ghana and our host in Virginia. May this meeting bear fruit that outlasts commit this discussion to you. Lead us, Lord. We pray. Amen.
Amen. So why do you do this?
Our distinguished guests to find some seating at the back. Thank you so much. Excellencies, honorable representatives of government, distinguished officials of the Bank of Ghana, members of the diplomatic corps, esteemed members of the Ghanaian diaspora. It's a bit cold, but as Ghanaians, we have to warm up the place. I think you understand what I mean. So please give yourselves a resounding round of applause. My name is Anita Erskine. Of course, I am more of a proud moment to be able to stand here in the voice of the Bank of ideas to listen as we collectively build products that push the prosperity of our country. You've heard it and you've seen it. This is a diaspora roundtable discussion, and it is convened to talk about policy, perspective, and of course, your lived experience. We are collectively exploring the strength of our pathways that we're building together, pathways that can deepen the impact of our diaspora contributions to our lovely, wonderful nation, Ghana, and her development. So now to officially begin, it gives me great pleasure to bring with her that title. Ladies and gentlemen, the person coming to the podium right now is a celebrated international lawyer with over 3 decades of experience in the Ghana Foreign Service. So much that in 20 years service, of course, it was for her expert delivery within the Ghana Civil Service and beyond. She is an alumna of Infantimic Girls Secondary School. If any of you are here, a round of applause for you. And she has earned her legal training at the Ghana School of Law in 1993. We celebrate her because currently she is a member of the African Union Commission on International Law, I think the only one from Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, she has a key in the DMV. Please warmly welcome Her Excellency Jane Gasu Aheto, who is the Deputy Ambassador of Ghana to the United States to deliver her goodwill.
Good evening. Thank you, Anita. The Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, who I've seen for the first time of the bank, leaders of our Ghanaian associations present, distinguished invited guests, esteemed partners, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to participate in this important roundtable discussion on initiative that's transformative potential of diaspora capital in shaping sustainable development outcomes across our economies. Allow me at the outset to convey warm Victor Emmanuel Smith and our dedicated staff of the Embassy of Ghana, many of whom are participating in this event today. I also wish to express our sincere this timely dialogue with Ghana's strategic priorities for inclusive growth, investment mobilization, and economic resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, in the course of the past week, Ghana had the privilege of participating in the 2026 year in Washington, 13 to 17th April. These meetings proved both productive and affirming for Ghana's economic trajectory. All this hard work comes supported by our diaspora community. Have long been a cornerstone of our economy. Remittances have played a stabilizing role in Ghana's microeconomic environment. Among others, it has helped support access to education and even healthcare. With access to global networks, skills, and capital, the Ghanaian diaspora are our steady partners in development. The Ghanaian diaspora is uniquely positioned that their investments will be protected and effectively utilized. This places a responsibility on government to uphold the highest standards of governance, accountability, and service. I am of the belief that it is time to elevate these standards. This is where the vision of REMIT2INVEST becomes not only relevant but urgent. REMIT2INVEST offers an into productive investments, supporting entrepreneurship, infrastructure, and small and medium-sized enterprises. For Ghana, this aligns perfectly with us as a strategic pillar of our esteemed governor of the Bank of Ghana will tell us how this translates into our daily lives. And before I take my seat, permit me to reiterate that government remains committed to creating an enabling environment that facilitates diaspora investment. The Ghanaian diaspora represents one remittance flows with strategic investment opportunities. We can accelerate our journey towards inclusive and sustainable development. Let this occasion be remembered as one to transform remittances into engines of growth, but to invest in the future. Mr. Governor, you are heartily welcome. Very, very welcome. And I leave you with your audience. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for Her Excellency, Deputy Ambassador of Ghana to the United States, Excellency Jane Gasu Aheto, who I know is off to yet another Ghanaian honor to present the visionary behind REMIT2INVEST. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker is a distinguished economist and accomplished central banker. He has been at the forefront of policies that safeguard Ghana's macroeconomic stability and strengthen the resilience of our financial system. Yet, beyond policy and regulation, he brings seeks to unlock them as a powerful engine for investment, innovation, and sustainable growth. Ladies and gentlemen, driven by a deep appreciation for the Ghanaian diaspora, which is why we're here, and its immense distribution and contribution to national development, he has convened never been done before. And it is obviously a reminder that even in the world of central banking, there is room for rhythm, there is room for connection, and there is room for genuine dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium, the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Tango Asiama.
Okay, before I begin, let me introduce the members of my team. Dr. Zachary Amomuni, the first deputy governor, please wave to the crowd. Nana Epia Aibo, she's a member of the board, practicing as an auditor. So indeed, we have a strong team. Now, you know, over last week, we were having the IMF meeting, the IMF World Bank meeting. And so we had in attendance, some members of parliament from both sections of parliament. So we have a member of parliament seated right here. Everywhere he goes, he attracts a lot of fans. It's way to the crowd. Now, Honorable Adongo happens to be a member of the board as well. And so we made it mandatory that he represents Parliament, but also represents the board of the Bank of Ghana. He is Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. I'm sure he's here somewhere, VIPC CEO. Thank you. Our executives and banking partners that are yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor and privilege to convene this meeting's Diaspora Remittance Roundtable here in the DMV. As you are aware, the DMV spans Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, the administrative heart of the United States, but also a vibrant heart of global policy, finance, innovation, diaspora excellence, among others. I bring you warm greetings from Ghana and from the Bank of Ghana engagement with one of Ghana's most valuable national assets, talking about the diaspora. The choice of the TMP area is deliberate and strategic for us. This week is vibrant Ghanaian. Beyond this, the diaspora community here and in the United States in general have built a reputation for excellence, discipline, and enterprise. You are the entrepreneurs, you are the financiers, you are the policy influencers. You are not merely participants and policy, you are not merely participants in the global economy. You are shapers of it. The entrepreneur for a sustained and institutionalized diaspora engagement. The United States remains Ghana's single largest source of remittance inflow. This underscores the importance of engaging diaspora communities, given that remittances are among the most stable and counter-cyclical sources of external financing, providing resilience during periods of global economic uncertainty. So let me be clear. The Ghanaian diaspora is a strategic asset. Let me say that again. The Ghanaian asset. The diaspora represents, first, a critical source of foreign exchange inflows. Second, a powerful channel for technology transfer and important bridge to global capital markets. However, unlocking this full potential requires a deliberate transition. A transition from consumption remittances to investment-oriented diaspora capital depends on modern, digital, and identity-linked approaches that reflect evolving preferences and investment behavior. So this gathering reflects in Ghana and its diaspora, recognizing that diaspora capital, remittance, and expertise, these are all integral to Ghana's macroeconomic stability and long-term in Ghana. Our macroeconomic framework has been recalibrated to ensure stability, to ensure predictability, and to ensure investor confidence. In fact, the external sector remains resilient, and our financial system continues to demonstrate soundness and adaptability. Our gross international reserves have strengthened, while the city has shown considerable appropriate policy tightening and effective liquidity management. My objective, this is to set up with clarity and to end our remittance flows into formal foreign exchange and channel them into investable capital through the financial system in Ghana. But if remittance inflows remain a cornerstone with some data, before I came on, Ghana recorded approximately $4.6 billion in remittance.
You should put it back down.
These flows continued to rise through last year, by the end of last year. So at roughly 6% of GDP in terms of in real terms, Remittances now exceed foreign direct investment, underscoring their systemic importance.
Amen to that.
Invest and have evolved rapidly, driven through effective collaboration with banks, mobile money operators, fintech innovation, and strong diaspora. There's the bank-based money remittance products. There's the fintech or digital remittance apps, which some of them use, cross-border payment platforms and aggregators. And then, of course, there's the cash pickup and agent network products also being used as channels. On enhancing formal remittance capture, strengthening transparency in the foreign exchange market, supporting the digital cross-border payment systems, and improving the integrity, quality. For us at the Bank of Ghana, we are aligning this approach with international best practice. We are exploring diaspora bonds and structured investment vehicles in collaboration with the designated MPOs, promoting foreign trade frameworks for cross-border flows, and establishing more structured and continuous diaspora engagement platforms. Also, we are leveraging fintech partnerships to reduce remittance costs and settlement frictions, and tokenization-based models to improve speed, to improve traceability, and to improve efficiency in cross-border remittance and investment flows. We are doing all this within the sound. We are working to ensure that when a Ghanaian in Washington or elsewhere decides to invest in Ghana, whether in government securities, whether in SMEs, whether in fintechs, whether in real estate, that the pathway to doing this is seamless, it is credible, and it is rewarding. These initiatives are informed by proven global best practices from emerging market peers. We have a number of talk about Mexico or talk about India. We have successfully implemented structured diaspora engagement frameworks, combining targeted investment instruments, digital remittance platforms, to scale diaspora funds. Philippines shows how to change financial behavior, and India shows us how to mobilize large capital from remittances. So Ghana intends to adapt and to scale with our domestic. Roundtable this evening is designed to explore bankable diaspora investment opportunities, co-create innovative diaspora financial solutions, support a strategic shift from consumption-driven remittances affecting diaspora flows. We expect tangible outcomes, including greater formalization of remittance flows, increased diaspora participation in Ghana's financial markets, enhanced partnerships between the diaspora, financial institutions, and policymakers, and actionable policy and regulatory recommendations. Ghana will continue to collaborate with stakeholders to convert diaspora inflows into long-term development capital, encourage the development of targeted financial instruments for diaspora investors, strengthen digital payment ecosystem, institutionalize them to better track and leverage remittance flows. So in conclusion, let me emphasize that the Ghanaian diaspora is not peripheral to our economy. It is actually central to our external strategy and our economic transformation. The diaspora is not peripheral to our economy. You are not peripheral. You are central to our external stability, to our investment strategy, and our economic strategy. Well, our diaspora can become a reliable source of long-term capital, even during crisis. And we must treat the diaspora as domestic investors that are abroad. Not the next phase is not just about remittances, it is about turning the diaspora incomes into long-term investment capital for Ghana. So through this maybe roundtable here, our collective and engagement such as these into enduring economic partnerships. For us at the Bank of Ghana, we stand ready to work with you all to achieve this objective.
They can see the
And that brings us to the end of part one. Part two, the opportunity. It gives me great pleasure to bring to the podium the Chief Executive Officer of Ghana. Welcome, Mr. Simon Mack.
I think the only thing I have in common with the government is that we are attending the secondary school in Ghana. Everybody is guessing, right? So we know about all right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And it's an honor to really be here to make a presentation. I would want to start with this mentioned by our able governor and also the deputy ambassador to the United States, as well as our presidential advisor on preparation, also with our ambassador. Please, if you have my presentation, go ahead. The diaspora comes with great experience, exposure, and education. And we need all of that to develop our country. Let me get to answer that. I think. So let me start from this one. Let's see.
Okay, you did it. You did it.
Anyone? Financial services. Oh, many of you are financial services. you are with the government. Well, these are some of the areas that we want to talk to you about when we talk about opportunity. Now let me be very basic. So that is enough, but not enough for 30 million. And so when the government speaks about formalization, he's also talking about your ability to transition. Yes, having a little bit of locational incentives depending on where you are located. The opportunities in the VAT law of which you can take advantage of as a registered business. So when you're talking about formalization of your remittance, he's also talking about the ability to establish a business. As every, it is difficult to understand that. Why would it take someone who is not a Ghanaian to go to Ghana, assume the risk, and invest in Ghana and succeed? But for a Ghanaian who's living, most of the investment falls apart. There's a link which is missing. You often say, oh, the people that we try working with is not been faithful to you. That's what I hear from many people in Ghana. So the government is trying to resolve that by taking a diaspora born in there's a chance that at some point you have challenges. But the real issue is that for those who are not Ghanaian, when they come to Ghana, they have the patience to invest and they operate as business. Our message is very clear that you have to begin to look at what are some of the success factors of all these oriental countries to achieve the success that they have. That the line is simply their commitment to investing in that. For the person who is not from Ghana, their commitment to investing in Ghana and reaching the reward often leads to our peers higher than those of us who are from Ghana and our commitment to investing in Ghana to reach the reward. But fundamentally, we are all trying to achieve one goal. And that goal is that for every person that looks at Ghana develop on the basis of economic investment. You can be whatever you want to be here, but you are just another one. But not just another one. And the governor has spoken about your capital, which is 7.8 billion. And he said it's higher than FDI. Yes, it's true. FDI. So your money to that your money is not going, it's not turning itself into investment. Because you have to be intentional about being an investor in your own life. So we encourage you to look at that. Now he's talking about some of the current trends, so I won't worry you too much about perceived challenges that you have. You're putting in your investment and then there's a risk that you may not get what you want. There's also limited access to bankable projects. So today, whatever you share some of the bankable projects with you and to look at your interest. There's also the tax gap because many of you do business with your relatives. But one thing for sure, business is have to do business. Invest in Ghana. They are professional to do that. But advantage here from Christian. You just take a small amount of your money and not give to the family. That's not the case. Yes, so you can see about the currency. But now that's what okay. And our table at the view, the currency is very stable. right? We look at the stable for a very long time, or our plan for the government before the So those are some of the requirements. You can see that the government is going to deal with all of these major risk factors. And now the objective is to help the economy to grow. People come into the country to invest. For those of you that think that the governor has passed a law for the virtual asset service. If you have expertise in that, and we are just about the first country in West Africa or Africa to have a law to regulate cryptocurrency and all the associated products that come and service providers. This is a fine opportunity for you. In agriculture, we invite you to come in. Now we have legalized the cultivation of industrial and medicinal Indian hemp. I was watching your TV last night, and they call it weed. And you can go into the cultivation, the processing, the marketing, the regulation, and it's open entirely to you as a diaspora investor into the country. This is where you can turn some of your investment into. There's also the opportunity and the government's flagship initiative for you to understand. So the 24-hour economy has certain components which we call the growth goals. One such component is the border economic corridor. Now, the goal of the border economic corridor is industrial parks, and all the things that will make Ghana self-sufficient in this food production. So, if you're a diaspora investor, the question is, how can I participate in the 24-hour economy? Because the government is not going to do it all by itself. Through the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund that has its own governance structure, on which you can invest, then you have control. And whether government have government goals, your investment is secure because this is an independent SPV at your industrial park or any of the investment along the water lane. So that is something we are inviting you, the diaspora, to really put in your mind. When you see the SPVs, please put your money in that investment, in how that investment will be carried out, especially under the 24-hour economy. And these SPVs will be created for many of the projects around the 24-hour economy, whether it's in cultural enclave, it will be the same. Government is going to create an SPV, or the Tamale cargo hub with the intention to convert the Tamale airport into a cargo hub to export many of the agricultural products. You are also going to use electric vehicles. Let's see, who has an electric vehicle here? Right. So you know about the electric vehicle. Now we want to open up about 1,000 charging stations. The regulation is already there. Your resources to help us migrate into using a lot of electric vehicles on our roads. Our goal is to get about 70% adoption by the year 2040. And then we're talking about the cryptocurrency. I mentioned agriculture. Agriculture has emerged as a place now for investment in our country. It's one of our leaders. When you come, you have what we call the Feed Ghana project, which is under the Ministry of Agriculture. And under the Feed Ghana project, government is building over 50 farmer service centers that will be closer to the farmer. So they will provide extension services. You can also These are things that you can equally participate in and agriculture. And so there are huge opportunities in the poultry value chain, whether it's processing, whether it's hatcheries, veterinary services. There are significant opportunities in that one. Also in agriculture, there's the intention of the government and the Minister of Finance to grow about 200,000 hectares of farm hectares on that one, as well as cocoa. So there are huge opportunities in the palm oil sector if you have expertise or lands in your villages that you can grow that, and you can invest your money into that. In fact, there's a World Bank $500 billion project just for in that area. Now, under cocoa, you are all aware that we are seeking to regrow our cocoa sector. We want to go more into cultivation. And the objective of government now is to process the cocoa bean. About 500,000 tons of processing capacity, which is
I know the game is
many of the cocoa processing companies are looking for strategic partners like you who can also source funds to help them. Now, if you move from agriculture and go into housing, we have over 1.8 billion deficit housing. Should I run? I can go on and on. What's my time? Okay. So the opportunities in housing, and you are the ones who want to Ghana tomorrow. Why do I? This is currently the pharmaceutical sector in Ghana is valued at 600 billion. Projected to go to 5 or so years from now. And we are looking for more Ghanaians to participate in the pharmaceutical sector. We are the leading players within the West Africa region in terms of pharmaceutical. And we are pharmaceutical ingredients with the pharmaceutical consumables, and the retail is giving exclusively to Ghanaians. So please consider bringing your investment. Insurance are noted for one thing, tourism. So we are looking for investment in our hotel. If you come to Accra or any of the regions, you don't have enough of the hotel. As for the hotels, we are convinced that the national we have the resources to use for conferences and education. So I'll be glad for that, but we'll see the next. And the government of Ghana has all the incentives for people who are investing in Ghana. The incentives that we provide as to a foreigner, same applies to you as a Ghanaian investing in Ghana. It's just a fact of formalizing your business and showing where your source is coming from and being straightforward. You know, when I say being straightforward, it means dealing with the right authority, whether it's because of them by saying the government of Ghana has done a few unique things to help them. One, the business environment has improved. The government has already mentioned it. When we in investment promotion say the business environment has improved, VAT is now around 20%. Really, there is somebody's touched the camera. There's some small levies for our so VAT is lower. And this VAT of 50% is the lowest within the South region, except for it's around 18.
Thank you. No, you're going to
your corporate income in Ghana, depending on where you are located. So if you go outside of Accra, it's 18.75. You could go as low as 12%. And in the 5 million, which is the corporate income tax is 5%. It's very low. So if you take advantage of that, you know, but the average corporate income tax within the South region
is well over 30%. Ghana average is around 25%. So all of these opportunities are there. And you must look at what government is doing, the regulation. So goal of what? Of strengthening the investment environment. We have stopped minimum capital requirement, except for the retail market, where we have to protect it for able Ghanaians like yourself and myself. But every other minimum capital requirement is up. So we hope to really see you investing in that. And remember that the black man succeeding in Africa is the best thing to happen to the black man that's outside of Africa. I mean black man, black man.
Compose. Thank you, Mr. Maggie. That was a wonderful faces here with us today. We welcome you to DMV. And we have so many beautiful faces here. We have several people of the Ghanaian community that resides here in the DMV. And if you hear your group name, we want to hear you all in your numbers. So when you hear your group, please, we want to hear you know that you're representing. We have the Bankers Association of Ghana.
Yes. No, you're right.
We have the College of Canyon Pastors Association. And then we have the Council of Ghanaian Pastors. We have the Council of Ghanaian Associations of the Washington, D.C. metro area. We also have the FA Association of Washington, D.C. Metro Incorporated. The Ghanaian Professionals Network, GHPN. The Ghanaian Diaspora Nursing Alliance, GDNA.
Yes.
Global Diaspora Council.
But
We have
so
the
you said Zoom is at the stage.
old
Okay. Good. Yeah,
We have St. Augustine, my father.
leave it. Okay. So
But
now we're
Augustine's
going to
past
use
students union,
wonderful
APS,
again on
University of
shop
Cape
like
Coast
this.
Alumni
And then we just
Association, and then and there's so many groups. If I miss anyone here this evening, please let us know that you're here. We want to acknowledge you. Did I miss anyone this evening?
They took all.
Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, it feels as if some of you, Apsu, where are you? First where are you?
all over.
We can hear you. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here in your numbers. And this brings us to a very important part of our program, essentially the stakeholder perspectives. And this is where we move from opportunity to understanding the reality on the ground. In this particular segment, what we're going to do is hear directly from the voices across the diaspora. We'll hear from the financial institutions, of course, the regulations, grounded in real experience and practical engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, humility, all the humility Ghana can afford me. I humbly ask our speakers to make sure that your contributions are sweet, short, straight to the point, which will also give us enough time to come to the. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to bring to the stage for this particular moment Dr. Paul and Mr. Philip, Executive Director, Inspired Corporation Corporate Dr. Amy Please bring to the podium or to the stage Professor of Finance from the University of Cincinnati, Professor Charles Apedu, PhD, CFA, MRM, PAIA. Please welcome to the stage Executive Director of Marketing from the World Financial Group, WFG, Mrs. Emilia Ibitunwa. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to welcome this Orebu Sari. Please also allow me to welcome economists at the Bank of Ghana, Gertron Adelowu. And I think, Mr. Matthew, you have no choice than to come back to hold you accountable. Chief Executive Officer, Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, now Ghana Investment Promotion Authority, GIPA. We have some colleagues of the banks who are joining us online. We want to acknowledge you. We know you can hear us. We are also live from the recorded and placed on the Bank of Ghana official page. So, ladies and gentlemen, I bring this conversation to our first question. Our first question will be given to our members of the diaspora. You essentially yourself, but the big voice, the diaspora voice. So
tell a guy to change his resolution. Is broadcasting at a separate frame rate and a resolution, right? Because you see, I don't know what he's running on.
Thank you for the opportunity. Well, we're talking about what will make my perspective as a citizen.
I've changed it.
I see two key areas.
Yes. Because it was running a standard definition. I just put it to full HD.
The current remittance platforms are not optimized to tap into investments in their remitting people. So you don't have any existing remitting administration platforms and portfolio. The second for me as a citizen will be the issue of trust, right? The issue of trust, not only at statewide level, where we have countless incidents of or reports of misappropriation, but there are no mechanisms in place to hold people accountable. So those are the two key problems from my perspective. As a citizen who would love to,
the camera that has a two shot.
If I were to talk about what a solution that should be in
the camera
place,
the camera with the two shot.
so will be directly to address the two issues that I see of sorts.
Yeah, the one with the two
one can
just see if you can get everybody.
select to say I'm remitting this amount to go into that investment or that
and then
investment.
don't worry about the
The second
so
would
just
be
use them out so everybody else. You can't come
okay.
up.
So we have a list of, let's say, approved products that investors can confidently invest in.
So I don't so if this is all
And have
right
examples of people.
move it to your left.
Users will have negotiating.
Yeah, just leave it like that.
Place
Just
where I
concentrate on
get
just other one.
get my money back or make sure my money goes to
Say that again.
where I intend it to go. Okay, so
Yes, okay, yeah, it's okay.
other panelists
It's fine,
opportunities
don't worry about
to
that.
speak.
Just tilt a little.
Thank you so much,
Just a little.
Dr. Paul. Dr.
Thank you, distinguished panel. Usually, this panel is made up of finance people, so as a lay physician, I feel honored to be part of it. And I'll start by saying that, this idea of REMIT2INVEST is an excellent idea you asked me. I'm glad that with the governor's vision and leadership, we are finally trying to formalize what has been happening for years. I think there needs to be a real ecosystem. Everybody who wants to remit knows what's happening. It has to be seamless. It has to be competitive. It has to be easy to do. And I think we've really come a long way from when we started, when, to remit, you had to we have this situation where on your phone you can just remit money for a funeral or for your relatives' school fees or something through one of the multiple platforms. A couple of things. One, of course, they tell you there are no fees, but we know they make money from our from the difference in what your rate is, what they actually pay. But there's another thing that I've always wanted anytime I send money through. What happens to the dollars that we pay here? Do they actually go to Ghana, or do they stay here and really not show up on Ghana's balance of payments? So it's definitely something that needs to be looked at. We need to be able to, I know you've talked about this multiple times. The other thing I think is important is making sure that this is all transparent and actually vehicles that we in the diaspora know we can use, because this has to go past just paying for school fees. Having proper investment vehicles that we can use. One of your biggest investment vehicles is your retirement funds. And I'll ask anybody in that field whether there are means where Ghana can harness legally some of our investment retirement account capital. Of course, if they're going to invest in any of the things and GIPC boss talked about, so usually looking for returns in 1 to 3 years. But we need to be able to invest long term, 10, 12, 15 years. If my son is into his 401k, can he roll over some of that money into a self-directed IRA? That is patient, meaning that you're not expecting to get that money today or tomorrow. It's patient for 10, 15, 20 years. Something that is definitely very much needed in Ghana. They're asking us for our treasure. But there's also time and talent, which I would argue is just as important. I think with the leadership of the Bank of Ghana, there should be frameworks where me as a physician, okay, so that I take 2 weeks off or 3 weeks off for my practice. I can go and work in Ghana, and there's some incentive. It doesn't have to be financial. A lot of us are willing to do this for less than we are paid here because we love our country. But so if it's well structured, it will be great. The last thing I'm going to talk about, which might be quite controversial, I heard our president talk about the diaspora being the 17th region. We contribute so much to the GDP as has been mentioned, probably more than all the other regions. So why doesn't the diaspora be the first region? But one of the reasons and one of the ways it can be, and I'm glad we have an MP here, vote in the diaspora. You ask for our talent, you ask for our time, you ask for our treasure, then we should be able to vote. We should be able to be able to have a say in the national direction. And with that, I'll hand it over.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
What I'm going to say here may not be palatable. Number one, I want to just posit that Ghanaians in the diaspora love Ghana as much as the Ghanaians in Ghana, or sometimes even more. We always talk about the Asian relations. We talk about Singapore. We talk about South Korea. In my previous job, I traveled around the world. I was almost on the plane because I had a global position with offices in London, in Mumbai, in Hong Kong, diaspora. I believe many of you know that China's development was not in a vacuum. China's development mainly is from Chinese in the United States. India, you go to Bangalore, the development of India is tied close. Unfortunately, and this is saddens me, that somehow the Ghanaians in Ghana don't like the Ghanaians in the diaspora to work with them. And this saddens me. Because we are developing the best and brightest, most of them, if they want higher education, they get it from outside their countries. That is why we came here. It's not that we don't love Ghana, but we came here because, so that in fact, in my year group from KNUST, now they call it KNUST, we used to call it UST. No one who got a first class in the US, they call it summa cum laude. No one is in Ghana. All of us saying is this: God has made this so that there is a way in which the free education we got from Ghana, we will pay back. We want to pay back. We want to contribute. But our Ghanaian friends, unfortunately, don't want. So, number one, I like what I'm seeing in this administration. Every administration, I'm not NPP, NDC, I'm a Ghanaian, and I want to support Ghana. So what the city and so on, I love it. And the thing is, if truly, Mr. Governor, if you truly want to do this, please, it should not be a one-off event like this. Because what is happening is that when governments come, you speak, they say, wow, we've never seen an intelligent person like this. And then you sort of tell them everything, nothing happens. So my suggestion is, please, solutions to have series of meetings until we get to implementable solutions, and then we implement them, and there's monitoring, there is a feedback loop, and then we make sure, because if I go to Singapore, okay, if I go to China and I speak to them about some things that they need to do, I'm telling you, the next year I go there, I see implement. So trust is very important. Trust. And when I say trust, I'm saying this: if we do all that we are talking about here, if there is not accountability in Ghana among those who oversee things, my goes on them, you can feel it will never get full. So we have to be serious as a nation. There should be punishment for wrongdoing, especially from where? The top. Honestly speaking, I have told my European friends that in 10 years, Ghana should be competitive, should be like at least Southern Europe, like Spain, like Portugal, like Italy. They are not that much more advanced than we are. Please, but we do love the country, and we want this country to do well. We don't want to just be a prop. Let's make sure we get to an implementation. Please implement the thing, and let's see.
I don't know how you are going to pick up from there, but I trust you can.
It's a privilege to be among these great gentlemen. I think I'm the only man. That was just given out. There are France, we have to be proud of what we are doing for our dear country. I love that. And so, the governor said, 7.8 billion of our dollars, and we make up 6% of Ghana's GDP. Now, it was said we are central to the economic transformation agenda. So, which means I work in the financial sector, but I focus on insurance. Now, everything we set out home is dependent upon our ability to go to work to make the money. Well, disability, cancer, and we can't go to work. Our ability to make the money is gone and gone forever. What about the people we support back home that we translate to so that they can live? They depend on us. So the governor spoke about, and our dear brother spoke about, there was no mention of insurance. I'm begging the Ghana government and all the key leaders in this room. We as Ghanaians, if Ghana is a whole, if we are going to lose the title, third world, it's insurance. America, insurance in America is 1913. The insurance tax code is as old as the US tax code. America depends on the insurance industry. And I didn't hear anything about insurance. We have to start education right now. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about something else to Philippines. Dear brother talked about Philippines, right? It says education has to start from the top all the way down and across Ghana and Africa also in general. It says sustain financial literacy for overseas workers. I'll stop there. Sustain financial literacy, my dear brothers and sisters in the diaspora, is very important that we protect our most valuable asset. And it's not our bank account, it's not our investment account, it's not our houses, it's our income. But everything depends on that income. Wait, before I go on, we are willing to transmit, to invest. Transmission comes in different ways, we can in different ways. We have money, we have also skills. We are willing. Me sitting here, I'm in my time. I don't mind going home to clone myself in my sisters, in my mothers, and all those people out there. We need to clone ourselves. So investment is not only money. The most powerful investment is skills.
very simple, and I'm being sarcastic. Now, we've heard about formalizing the ecosystem, creating seamless competitive rates. What happens to the dollars that we were asked? Transparency of the vehicles of moving our funds from here to home. Retirement funds, can we harness them? What are we're talking about where we stand as a diaspora. We don't want to be the 17th, we want to be the first region. That may not be for you to answer, but let me just put it out there for posterity's sake. We have a division between the diaspora and those bridge between the two. Insurance has just come up, and ladies and gentlemen, lastly, skills. How do we transmit the skills also as a form of remitting to invest? So now to you, my wonderful gentlemen, let us, gentlemen, in no particular order, I'm going to start off with you, the FinTech and Innovation Office, Oreto Asari. All the best.
Thank you very much. I to brief so that conversation that my brothers and sisters have highlighted. Facts. And the movement from obligation-based remittances to opportunity. Highlight. Of course. How do we facilitate the movement of value from diaspora to Ghana without any major intermediaries, where funds get into Ghana and it becomes a problem? So I think this is where we have the intersection of digital and finance coming to be able to take out the opportunity-based remittance deals. You get to a point where you realize that, do I have to send these funds to Philip, or I have to send it to Epia? We are actually at the cusp of coming up with solutions or facilitating move funds straight into those respective markets. It takes out that challenge of trust, where we are not too sure about the person receiving the funds. I think that's something that stakeholders across the board to allow this to happen. And lastly, in terms of moving from remittance of obligation-based remittances to opportunity, well, it will get to a point, the social connection between our and Ghana. Whatever we do, we reduce. Our kids may not see the need to remit to us because maybe your parents are already in the US. There's no need, you don't have that need to. We need to create that opportunity for our children to be able to remit without any intermediary. I think that is where we are heading towards. There are a number of solutions that I believe as time goes on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sari. Economists at Bank of Ghana.
I feel very much looking at the places here. Yeah, so for us from the regulatory space, the issue of free and therefore what is necessary is to make sure that the environment exists, to make sure that you are able to transfer your money, the environment is safe and transparent for you to be able to transfer your money. Ours is to ensure that the environment is regulated properly. You are able to send your funds for legitimate business. And you are guaranteed. And so one of the points that we resolution all the funds that you are sending has to reach that. And for us, all the policies that we have put in place is to ensure that all is performed well, and that is the public policy. A lot of reforms have happened. Then you're going to just take the opportunity to explain some of it. So the first thing has to do with how we restructure reform the FX operations, the framework. And the framework, the first is to ensure that we build reserve adequately to support trade. And that has been a key issue for many people. The market is not liquid enough. We want foreign. And therefore, that objective
check. That's what I'm trying
that we are able to do our investigation and do interventions when they are necessary. And so that we are able to do. We fashioned that against some of the new reforms that came out from the boards into we tailor that to the board operations. So we are ensuring that we are building without compromising effort for you to come back. The other has to do with the downdraft program, and I'm sure many of you have heard about that. Accelerated reserve accumulation program, in which the government, the Bank of Ghana, the Cocoa Board has to come together to and the idea is to build that resilience enough carry this economy to the next level for transformation. And as you all already know, Ghana has been to the fund several times. All for a reason succeeds. It means that we are far away from this. So maybe let me end. Yeah, I want to listen more and then
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I think that I will commence by answering some of the questions. So one is block, right? I think you were concerned about very would amend that aspect of the constitution to like to stand for office in the land. But even prior to that, the Supreme Court has already ruled, so there are certain positions that you can have citizenship through investment. That's very important. So all of these are happening. And you raise the issue of accountability and protection for investors. There are provisions under our constitution, 1992 constitution, which grants you the right to property into investment as well. And you are protected against discrimination. You don't really understand. Yes, you have there's also the principle against expropriation. One can't take over your property without paying the adequate and proper compensation as defined by law. And so, there's a question is that we have 16 regions. We think you are part of us, so you're part of the 17 regions. They all equal importance to us. And it's not necessarily based on the amount of money that you get. Because Ghana's GDP in the United States So when the people in Ashanti region or Western region also say I'm doing 80 billion, so actually, so it's just a question of commitment, not necessarily to put one down or another down. And the insurance market is open for private participation. There are Ghanaians playing in the insurance market. We have local insurance for the rule. The insurance commission has all same as the BOD has all these rules for people who want to run banks. And so we must meet a certain minimum capital requirement. And once you do that, for us, we want you to look at Ghana as the land of opportunity. As we speak, from 1994 to date, the data GIBC shows that we have over 7,000 foreign businesses registered, over 62 billion United States dollars. So what are they doing right, or what do they see that Ghanaians who equally have the same resources cannot see? This is where we want the looking at Ghana, so that when you are no longer around, and God forbid you be around for a long time, but when your sentiment is out and your children are looking at the Ghanaian market, we want to be able to put out opportunities that they can look at and say, here Ghana, break my capital, have the same protection as everybody else. And then that's where we see the growth coming. But mind you, Ghana is 34 million by 2050, and we have the West African market of 400. It's becoming one single market because of the AFCFTA. So if you sit back and you don't hasten to take advantage of the opportunities in Ghana, some other persons from some other countries will see it and they will collaborate with the Ghanaian that you say you have problems with, or they have problems with you to do business. So we have to go beyond the sentiment and then begin of doing business. I believe when we do that, we'll get to the point where that next vision of transforming
Thank you so much. And just by way of letting you know that currently, as we speak, we are beaming live. PLC First Bank is online with us. National Investment Bank Limited. We know you can hear us. Prudential Bank Limited. We've got Stanbic Bank Ghana Limited. Snapshot Ghana PLC is also online. Universal Merchant of Your Knowledge. We have all these banks who are also online listening to. But ladies and gentlemen, many of you have been asking, when do you get to engage? When do you get to interact? We're going to do this in a lovely Ghanaian orderly fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, with humility and respect, we have a lot of questions. We want to be able to answer as questions are coming to you, because I've seen some coming through our online audience. I hope you're ready, sir. My colleague Abla will be walking around with a rolling microphone kindly. When I pick you, please stand up, mention your name, kindly don't give a choice, but please kindly go to the question and to whom the question is being asked, so that we can have as many questions as possible with due respect. If I may go to you, sir. Governor, you have a question. I think we should come to you first, kindly. The question is, how, as for financial mobilization, sir? This is the question coming on my sheet.
Okay, so this program is very much one of such. As you know, so it is for people like him, for my sister, exactly, the Ghanaian embassy in the US. They have that responsibility. Now, where we come in is when you are dealing with the channels through which they get to Ghana matters a lot. My brother, my response is not necessarily. And that's one problem we've been trying to resolve. So there's something called offshoring. There are some of those people who take your money. Instead of paying it into, okay. The Ghanaian banks in Ghana, they all have accounts with some of the foreign banks here. They call them correspondent banks. Cash are supposed to be paid into those correspondent accounts. Once it is paid into those accounts, those monies will have entered the Ghanaian banking system. And so those who are, for example, in there, such monies is what they use to pay for the imports. So your dollars enter into the correspondent account of a bank here. Somebody in Ghana is importing a car from, say, Germany. But then the bank will issue a check to pay for that. So think about the case where the money never entered in the correspondent account. And you know what they do? Because the people you send the money to in Ghana are paid in cedis. Is that okay? They find a way, then they use that loan, that CD loan they taken in Ghana to pay your receipt. So the person keeps your dollars here, turns himself or herself into a foreign exchange dealer. And then he tells people that if you want any payments, I can do it for you, which is illegal. That phenomenon was pervasive. And hence we have to do a few things to correct it. My colleague was talking about it, Gershon. He's the head of financial markets. It's one of the things we are tackling now. We want to make sure that every dollar and I always say that if we can make sure that every dollar, every pound sterling that the Ghanaian remits to tap into the Ghanaian system, the city will stabilize. It will stabilize. The reason why there was so much instability in the past was because we were not able to track all. Think about it, 7.8 billion US dollars. So we are now better able to track it. We've passed new guidelines, new legislation that compels them that every money you take, you must prove to us that it goes into our system. Otherwise, we pay the right. We are coming out with some additional measures, those who are in the space are complaining. Silently, these are some of the things we are doing. When you see the shipping is stable, it's no magic we are making. It is just tightening some of things to make sure that funds that are meant for Ghana let go into the banking system.
Question. Hello, Madam MC. This is Araba. I'm dialing in from Shanghai. It's dawn, but I want you to ask the governor something. Otherwise, I will not believe in your mandate. Oh, Mr. Governor, the question is in system. I want the governor to answer this, but I also want the young man from FinTech to answer. Mr. Governor, will you take a part of it, and then I'll give you the other.
So let me defer to him first. Yes. After he speaks,
yes,
but we are doing a couple of things in that.
Yes, sir. To hear from you this dawn. What is your readiness? What is Ghana's readiness for a full online banking system?
Thank you very much. I think
Sorry, cool. Go with that one.
if you compare what we are currently doing, our ecosystem support in terms of
Yeah, it's fine.
when we launched mobile money, that was 2009 in Ghana. We had situations where individuals would deposit money at an agent and then go around the corner just to ensure that the funds indeed went to an account and I can still access it. So I believe we have that level of robustness. And if you look at our trajectory, we've had some one.
Okay, I mean, maybe you're right. So what we'll do is that if we have to play something, we'll see.
If you want to make
because it was because what the problem is somebody unemployed strips and then somebody unplugged their stuff in, so I had to plug it back. That's why the top died.
Somebody did that?
Yeah, somebody unplugged it.
How?
So I think in terms of readiness, Madam is
I had the power strips that I had.
I think he has said everything. There are a number of exciting things coming up. He mentioned the digital assets law which we introduced recently. Determining the data. Technology that is playing out. And for us as regulators, we want to have visibility. When I'm able to see those flows, then I can tell when things are going wrong and I can regulate it. And so very soon we can better track all those flows. There are other things coming in, open banking, digital banking, how do you call that one? And one of the things we notice in Ghana also is, in the US here, for example, that really, it's not that easy. Getting credit in Ghana for more than a year is like pulling hair out of your nose, And so we need to relax those constraints. So one of the things I'm passionate about is digital credit. People should be able to raise money digitally on their phones. And can you imagine paying 30% interest on your credit card annually? Annually, that's just the interest. But this is what our people have had to contend with. And for us at the central bank, with strategy. If people can raise little funds on their own, they open their corner shops here and there, little, by little, employing themselves, that takes the pressure, So we are working on our side. We believe that we also have a role to play to enhance the real sector outcomes. Even as government, His Excellency the President is doing his.
I will systematically do the room. But do me a huge favor. Let's start from the column over there, and then we move down. Okay. Hi, Lisa, your name and to whom the question is being asked.
All right, let me get out of here because it's crowded. I'm sorry.
My question is going to the economy. My problem is we have discussed so much about businesses through the inflation, exchange rate, dynamics. Last time I was explaining Ghanaian exchange rate and inflation from 2000 to 2025, I see that it's about to their long run path, and which is very important to businesses. So I want him to explain how give us assurance that this rate right now is about 3.2.
Thank you so much, sir.
Should be stable.
Thank you so much, sir.
So, thank you very much. So the question is referring to whether this can be sustained. So, like I said, we had a very significant extremely fast inflation dynamics. The food situation has also improved significantly, and a lot of efforts are going in that direction. So we are confident that the stability we see will. We continue to build reserves. I mentioned earlier on about this Ganga program. We are improving on market conduct issues, which will ensure the stability in that space. We are confident, we are sure that the stability we are seeing is going to be sustained. Of course, we have current global developments, which actually pose some significant upside risk to inflation. But the government is, you realize that government has introduced some few reductions to the fuel prices. These are reductions to regulatory margins to ensure that everybody has inflation. So the margins have been reduced so that we can maintain inflation. We hope the current conditions improve significantly. Looking at the numbers this morning, petrol, if this thing does not last long, then we have some improvement from that side. So the gains will be sustained, but there are some upside risks.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. I'm going to take 3 questions at a time. Or our partner, can you go ahead? There's a lady in the blue shirt. There's a gentleman to her right. Your name and the question. Go ahead, madam.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Helena.
Helena, can you speak up for us, kindly?
Oh, okay.
Thank
you. Can you hear me now?
One, please.
One is a question, one is a comment. The first question is, how do you ensure that anything that you put in place, right, will be sustainable to that you have, every year we see several administrations that will come after you. So how do you ensure that these will be sustainable and still apply? And my comment is I haven't heard, and maybe this is not part of the panel, is really tied to investment. And just to kind of piggyback on Dr. Ning's comment, how do we harness medical professionals in this country? Because we do have a lot of talent and we are ready and able to support. And we all know that the healthcare situation in Ghana is not the most ideal, right? So how do we...
Of that column, there's a gentleman whose hand was up all the way to the wall, kindly. And kindly have the question, and you can leave the comments for after the program, kindly. I
already have a question. My name is Ghana. So my question is that today you can see that
a lot of Ghanaian entrepreneurs on online. Our Bank of Ghana make it easier for them to be able to sell their products, especially the payment system. So that if my sister is selling a product in my hotel, Zoko in Upper East, if I can use my credit card, financial system, making it very easy for Ghanaian businesses.
Thank you so much. So I come to the floor to answer the questions. Any of my colleagues can put their hand up. I will come back to you for your questions, please, humbly, if you just give me a few minutes. Can we that all the conversations we're having will remain the same? Entrepreneurs, how does Bank of Ghana facilitate their sales so I can do it easy? Mr. Samuel, yes, sir. Mr. Michael, go ahead.
I believe that Ghana has been at this business of democracy for the last 30 years. And so we've seen things that transition itself has been around for a very long time. No administration will come and change the bank. So this Bank of Ghana is putting in measures to ensure that the city stabilizes. You rest assured that no government will come and change the payment services system that my colleague is talking about. There was a law that was passed sometime, I think 2018, 2020. Yes. The payment services law, and it's being implemented. So that should give the examples are there for everybody to see. If you come from Accra and their hospitals call, is it Bloom Health? There's Nova, they're all from the US. So they are many of your kind who are in Ghana, who are running their own to many Ghanaians, and it's a profitable business because everybody is statistically safe. Right? And the resources to complete the agenda one. Somebody is prepared to hold discussions with you to complete those projects that are still outstanding. And then there are also the opportunities in the district and sales and chief compounds. And so if you are interested, you can also do that. Your expertise is always welcome. There are programs at College, there are programs at G, AMUS, right? Also to small G, where doctors come from New York, heart surgeons, they come and they operate on healthcare solutions. You're always welcome. Because health works no problem. Thank you.
Prof, you wanted to, sorry, Mr. Sorry, you want to contribute as well? Prof, and then I'll come to you, sir.
Just handle the question on how do you pay for a product that's online? What happens if you go online? What we've done at the central bank is to regulate the payment service providers. Today we have over 60 of them. A number of them they have discussions where merchants can actually list their products and services, and they actually accept Visa, MasterCard, and even for domestic the citizens, you can actually use mobile money as well. So if you are in the US, you go to some of these online marketplaces, and then you pay for it. I know for sure between Bank of Ghana, Ministry of Trade, and then Ghana Post, there's a working group that's facilitating it because there are two things that happen. Money gets to the merchants. Ghana Post is facilitating the courier to ensure that your request is fulfilled. It gets to your doorstep. Probably,
Don't worry.
I'm almost about CGIPC. Yeah, GIPC, yeah. For us to probably showcase, some of these online. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. And then Dr. Please.
So I'd like the question about how or what
can do to make sure that as governments change, I'm saying that Ghana is very rich in talent, rich in resources. We need to just in Ghana. I was called to run a seminar. I was one of the first people to say that Ghana needs a car. Now they call it Ghana car. That's not what I call it. I say it's something like the social security card for the United States. That will identify every person who is born in Ghana. Because we're thinking about the national health insurance system. And I said, very many countries, if we don't have a card that identifies Ghanaians, people can overwhelm the system. The system will not be sustainable. I went back in 2006 and I said, I've not seen a card that is so it's going to something that can transcend administrations. Now, in terms of what we're talking about, the market, the stock market is very important. If we are, because real estate for units of a car, in the US system, they call it alternative investment. In our system, it becomes a real investment. When I launched the CFA Society in Nigeria in the year 2010, I told them what we call it's only 5% of the exam, 40% of the exam. So what I'm saying is that we can use the stock market system to make sure that the money that we send, whether it's property, whether it is infrastructure, that the market itself will actually monitor the system and make sure the system works across.
So much, Prof. You know, you travel all over the world, so that's why sometimes I have to say 30 seconds. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
The first part of my comment is actually a question, which is how do we harness all the informal? I need to take money to Ghana. A friend of mine has dollars in Ghana. Rather than doing it through any of the formal corridors, I just asked him to, give my people $100, and of course they go and change it at transfer companies. I was doing some research and I noticed that in a place like Bangladesh, they had an incentive where they were paying an extra, the central bank actually was paying an incentive for people to use the formal sector rather than go another captured because they go through those informal sectors. I'm wondering whether the bank has any plans to try and do that. I think one of the problems with that though is if the delta informal is big, even that 2.5%, which is what Bangladesh did, would not work. So I guess one of the first things obviously is to narrow that delta. But I think if you had incentives, you would probably capture way more money. Now, of course, I think if you do that, you capture that money. And it makes me think of what recently happened with the gold board. So I wish somebody who has way more expertise than me can help answer this question.
Thank you so much.
The spread between our interbank and the bill. The mic, please. The mic. The spread.
Yeah, this is the microphone.
Sorry. And the interbank has significantly narrowed due to some of these considerations that we are doing. And so, beyond that, the central bank itself has introduced and the role of that desk is to really coordinate and make sure some of these issues are brought to the attention of technical people so that we can easily address them. And so the countries you mentioned are very important, Brazil and another one. So yes, India. So we have sent teams to Philippines and some of these countries to really look at some of the architecture they have, and so we can replicate that in Ghana. And just want to stress Governor's office, remittance desk, which can receive some of these considerations for the attention for us to address them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We go to the next block of 4 questions kindly. I'd like you to do me a huge favor and just move through quickly so we can have more time to answer.
Of course, I work in the health system. I'm a nurse. I've been listening to all of you. Nobody mentioned how nurses should be sustained in Ghana. And I'll be traveling from hospital because the things that are happening in our hospitals in Ghana, there's far difference of what nurses do there and what we do here. So it's hospital to hospital to invest my time in the hospital. That's also an investment. But I have culture, I have tons of land I can learn to Ghana. My comment goes to Mr. Governor. I have that are very dear to me that I would love to ship to Ghana. I want the governor to put that into consideration. I don't need answer today. You don't have to. You say I don't say how they're not electric cars. They're not. No. Okay, not. But shipping one of those cars, the duty on it can buy 3 cars in Ghana. Into consideration and think about it. Come back to us and let us know how citizens of Ghana who would love to invest in Ghana, love Ghana so much, how we can get this cars.
Thank you, Mama. This is the Queen Mother of the Sogolo area. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mario, and my question is to the governor. So my question is, I know you spoke last year together with Dr. Zach with my company. So I want to understand what you're putting in place to implement that financial market infrastructure. And in fact, I mean, the delegation you're leading to London, my team is actually hosting this around liquidity. Is the most critical thing to improve, the rates and then also the trust in the market. Those are the two critical things. So just quick background: if you look at the largest financial market in the world, is FX, right? And it's $9.6 trillion every single day. There's a company called CLS that processes about $7 trillion a day, and that's because they have this financial market infrastructure in place. But it's always like Ghana and the frontier and emerging markets. There's some absence of this, infrastructure, and that's what my company was actually building.
Thank you. I said no bios, but you've done very well. You're young Africa, so I all right, let's move on very quickly. Thank you so much for background information.
I want to commend the governor for passing the law for virtual asset service providers. He complained about security, and he also complained about if you guys can give us access to your sandbox, we can securitize most of our products in Ghana our farm produce. We use your ECDs, and that will create a collateral system. Talk about it, and thank you.
All right, thank you. So table that. Please have that conversation with our dear brother. One more question. That was more of a contribution. So let's take a question from that one.
My question goes to Oreku Asari. Yeah, so my question is very quick.
Asking if it's better now.
And since we are here, it's definitely going to happen online. In Ghana, it's Ghanaian investment platform. What pragmatic step is the Bank of Ghana taking to have this result?
Thank you so much. Straight to the point. Yes, sir. Sorry, I'm in the middle column. In the t-shirt. Please don't ask your question. Out of love.
My name is James. I'm
I know you.
I'm from New Jersey, and REMIT2INVEST, and I love Ghana so much. I can't leave this market. What being that?
Okay, so no marketing. Do you have a question? If you're going to market, hang on. I will have no questions. Unless you
My name is Dr. Akwete Nesisoa. My question is support from diasporian Ghanaians.
will it support? Okay.
Health sector accountability. Like if a data committee support those diasporian Ghanaians to create a sector in health sector, that will commit that doctor into another accountability.
Okay, no problem. We'll come to that. How is the question about skills? Sorry.
So we're getting some feedback from our brothers and sisters online. And our those of us that are sending them back, we ask
Okay. Sir, I'll take your question and then I'll come to the floor for the answers, please.
It's happening from the World Bank.
Sorry, sir?
So our president is speaking about water forward, right? And we're making all these opportunities we want to go back home to do, because it's not like doing a pure business, but business that you can do to refine the water that the World Bank is protecting on. Any intentions of having that partnership with the World Bank and to make sure that Ghanaians take advantage of this money that is being allocated. So I hit notice.
Okay.
We can take advantage of it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the input. All right. I'm going to ask you, Gabra. I'm going to put you on the spot here. I know you didn't intend to do this, but you've been patiently listening to everything, and you are one of the greatest economic minds. Your input. And I'm told you are excellency. Some thoughts around what you're hearing here today.
Thank you very much. I must first begin by expressing appreciation to the governor, the central Bank of Ghana coming together. You're right. Thank you.
maybe the business and financial community.
You've heard the question, so you can answer any of them.
I'll rather answer except to give assurances to because of my current position. Position of the governor. Most of the speakers have spoken about their desire to go back to asking for assurances, protection of the investments, the fact that Ghanaians, one of them in diaspora. I can only say that I used to live here myself, like since for almost 40 years now. I lived here, then worked here before becoming ambassador of the United States. So I've had go back to Ghana to work and invest. Is that sometimes some level of sacrifice will be necessary. When you are getting $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 for want to go to Ghana and earn the same person, and you need it. That is often not the realistic. In my case, just to give an example, 30 years ago, not a long time, and I went and accepted $500 a month to the government of Ghana. How many of you will do that? So that's the kind of commitment that means that they are willing to stay in the country in Ghana, in spite of that initial sacrifice. So, if you are going to run a business, start a business, invest in the business. The other thing is how to unite with other people, other Ghanaians, even those here and those outside. Work here as a platform to do an investment properly. You need usually a financial person, an accountant, you need a legal person, you need a business-minded, commercial-minded person. Those are four critical ingredients. Anybody who wants to do business must think about and look for the people here and create teams. So if you create teams, then it becomes much easier to roll out whatever business you have in mind, commercialize and do business and make profits.
Thank you so much, Abba. Thank you. I will make the for you for that, sir. So, Mr. Farah, it looks like you are on one opportunity representatives. These questions are specific to you, and then we'll move to the last block for the last 4 questions. Yes, sir.
I think the question is how do we connect the financial service, the investment products in Ghana to, I think what is actually happening today is what the same rules is what we are going to leverage on, because today you have the capabilities to be able to move funds from your bank account, let's say Bank of America, push it to any of the apps that they have, and then you send it to either the bank account or a mobile money wallet. Those managing the investment buckets, the moment the funds get into these are your specific area, to be able to connect the funds that you send, the moment you add that unique identifier in that channel that is pushing together. If you're able to go through to update your account with the investment, it's really, but it's more of our willingness to be able to get
have access or try to be able to push or find out the products that are available in Ghana for companies online also listening. So develop products where there could be a very easy handling between the pushers and then those investment markets. So I think it's not a problem of technology capability. It's our willingness to do it.
Abla, where are you kindly? Let's move to the last block, please. And if we have any time, we will go to other questions kindly. We promised you a 2-hour program. We're almost there.
Hi, my name is Diana. I have two.
One, my dear Diana.
Okay, so my question goes to Director of FinTech and then to the Deputy on that. This passes the Ghana Council. But I together with a friend have had very some two challenges. One is who to call back, I don't know how. So anytime we try to get an error. So I'm not sure what is happening.
I think that will probably be focused. Thank you so much, Diana. Our colleagues, our friend from Harvard are organized, so I think we will make sure we can liaise with them post-event. Next question, kindly.
Hello. My name is Joanne, and I'm the chairman of the Global Diaspora Council. The Global is still first, the attendance speaks for itself. I came here from Houston, Texas, primarily because I knew I was going to use the right to talk about the Global Diaspora and the Global Performance. So, every time we want to solve the problem, we try to do it with the government. Okay, government interference. Government interference with. But the question that I have has prevented us, because it's a private sector that's going to drive the economy in a sustainable manner and create sustainable jobs. But it looks like we've been stuck in the mindset that the government has to lead from a mindset perspective.
Thank you so much, Jermaine. Next question, please, in that block. Please put your hand up in the last column. Nobody? All right.
Habla.
Thank you. Sorry, sir. No.
Just a question.
Continue, please.
Sitting at the pond, and my question is, where do we go to find all the information we talked about? Like, for example, I'm looking for the Bank of Ghana. I go online and I'm not able to find them. So where do I go to find all this information?
Very good. Next question, please. You have a question. Our sound man is also Daniel. So come from behind the desk. There you go.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. My name is Romeo. My question centers around compliance. How is the Bank of Ghana challenge of the banking sector, specifically PCI DSS compliance, ISO 2700 compliance, and all those other compliance, and how those initiatives that's the UK and Middle East as well. How are we planning to bring that sector into Ghana so that our youth can get employed in that sector?
Question, Romeo. Abla, there's a lady right behind you, right next to you. The fourth question that we come to the answer.
My question, what do you have in place to sustain that? Because I know for Ghana, we are known as sponsor.
Ghana is not known as
next week. So I want to know which system do you have in place to sustain the electric vehicles? In case I want to invest, I have to be able to convince buyers that ABC and Z is in place.
Thank you so much. When did you come to Ghana last? Let's answer the question. Let's answer this question, and I promise to bring my minute. Where do we go to find the requirements? Anybody from Ghana can help us? So you said you went online. Okay. Go ahead.
Probably it's a much product engagement because almost every requirement for alliances in alliance requirements are online. So I think okay. Let me take that. We have a cyber and information security directive that mandates every entity that's applying for a license for the central bank, it being a banking license. So far as you have a system integration, you are supposed to come up with PCI DSS, ISO 27001. And I like your contribution. It actually was a contribution. We need to be able, those people in the central bank, to be able to provide that services, because the entities that are applying for the license will need your services. You know, it's up to you to be able to make yourself available so that these services, policy entrepreneurs, so we cannot select you over another person. What we can do is to provide that environment for you to be able to come in and add. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Magic, can I ask you to answer the question on government interference of the private sector, how we really boost it? And
did I hear right? Was it about government interference in the private sector? Not intervention in the private sector. So, Ghana has a going over years. And if you look at the entrepreneurial spirit of many Ghanaians, it shows that there are areas that Ghanaians, have learned the trick and they're actually doing well. And I'll give you an example. So, for instance, if you take in the manufacturing sector or in the beverage industry, those who were suppliers to companies like Market, and now they're actually competing. So if you come to the beverage sector, you have individual companies that are setting up their own cola products. So it's a patience to learn through the structures, and then finally they are able to take over or really compete like everybody. Now the question is, what is government doing? So government is offering manufacturing sector, machinery, raw materials, spare parts. It's 5%. The tariff itself is 5%. So we can deal with the levies. That one, the government is here. You carry that burden. But the tariff itself is just 5%. So that really boosts the business. There's also the component. In the previous administration, they had 1-1. But we are talking about transitioning the Ghanaian economy into a 24-hour working cycle. And what's the promise to help you to do import duties on your plant equipment machinery is to help you with out of regular use electricity tariffs. And also, he said something to the president has indicated that we are going to create special custom processes, what we call the economic operation, because the president has said that when it now to the private sector, he wears no political color, because at the end of the day, we want to build on this GDP of 130 billion to go further. And who wants to do that? Take Ghana, because it is open to you and it's open to everyone. So there are no impediments in the ways of the private in the mining services. Actually take over a mine to run it as many foreigners have done. This is one of the testaments to the fact that we are moving our own people. Actually, people have spoken about Dangote, people have spoken about OCP. I'll end very soon. This is the objective. The objective is to build local businesses that are strong enough to compete around the continent and to compete around the world. We want to see more of the Casapecos, the construction companies, and that's exactly what's happening.
I wanted you to touch quickly on the electronic or the electric.
Yes, and Madam spoke. The policy is to build about 1,000 charging stations. You have to start at some point. What is happening with electricity is about investment, and the state is investing to not just expand it, but to make it available, affordable, and reliable. These three things, and you can see it across everywhere. Because what is the goal here? Without electricity, really, you can't have any strong industrialization. We now have maybe close to 4,000, so there will be enough power even for the 24-hour economy. So, rest assured, definitely you can't charge your electric vehicles. But my point is, if you don't take advantage of it now, and you wait till tomorrow may be too late, because there are already now electric vehicles in Ghana and motorcycles. So if you wait too long, you may just miss the boat. And when you came, I hope you visited, is a 1 week, the lady that's going there, scooter, and you will see the opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, I literally have 1 minute and 30 seconds of this session. The gentleman in the hat, all yours for the next minute. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
My name is Wilfred Aluma. You all can see right now. We are very happy to be. What my name is. During my youth days, I wanted to take the first place in the data transportation. I took that's the job I needed when I was young. To make this transportation transportation. Elderly people. Why? Because of corruption. Corruption. To help, they want you to put your pocket before they can help you to help Ghana. Very. If delegates, like this in now, if they go to Ghana to see what we have learned here to visit Ghana, everything. And if you go there to talk about it, or you think you are only from America, you think you are only from Britain, we are doing our best. I want to ask my dedicated. Some of us here, we can't go to the government ourselves to ask anything or tell them anything. You have already them.
you going to do about this? Is increasing Ghana. It makes all these investment people weaken, lose confidence. But if you go there now, you have to be increased. Any investment. So please, I'm not going to talk too much. Me, myself, I'm over. But my children are there, my children are there. That's enough. You have to build Ghana for them, not me. Today, as I'm saying again, I'm out. I mean, we are trying. Thank you.
I dare say we wouldn't have come to the end of the interaction session in a better way. I hope we have some questions in the house. We won't leave. And respectfully, we do have to close our session today. May I humbly ask, Ambassador Steele, you had said you needed to say a few words. I'll be happy to give you 2 minutes, sir. Would you like to come on stage, or would you like to closing remarks and key takeaways, next steps, if you're comfortable? Thank you very much. A round of applause for our panelists.
Thank you very much. Let me first again appreciate the governor specifically for also inviting me. At this time, I'm speaking as President's Special Envoy, since our President took the initiative to go to the United Nations, organize a resolution in favor of the business crime against money. Now, conditions and efforts of many of us to improve our country. We are trying to improve our country. One of the fundamental ones is the fact that some people, mostly Europeans, came to our continent 300, 400, 500 years ago, since the days of some David and Zambuja and other so-called Portuguese, decided to export from our country many of our great-grandfathers, great-grandmothers, etc. And many of whom then came to the United States, went to the Caribbean, went to Brazil, did a lot of hard work. So we are talking about this country. We should forget that it was built on the backs of Africans and people of African descent. So the president decided that conference on reparations, where the representatives of at least the 123 countries who voted for favor of the UN resolution, and possibly even some of the 50 or more countries that abstained, that did not vote for, to assemble in Ghana to discuss a plan of action to take hold of the declaration of Ghana. From my point of view, having worked here as an African, so the issue of finance is part of there are many of the products that are being discussed here, which are
been discussing with the governor and finance minister, which can lead the whole slew of them. So whether they are infrastructure, whether they are construction, whether they are energy, we intend at some point in the conference agrees to introduce any range product that will be information that is informed development of those countries that enslaved us and colonized us, who are beginning to agree that yes, errors and some faults and crimes. So that the Germans, for example, have agreed to pay $1.1 billion to the railroad strikes of Canadian as a start for some of the British government, of course, a lot more reticent. But their kings and queens and royalty are beginning to apologize. Think of how to repair the damage. They had specific experiences in Haiti and some countries that are also ongoing today. So it's a very big subject. I don't want to go into too much detail, but the reasons at this continental, it is transnational, it's multilateral.
So how you do that? So you're trying
psychology, all of these have products and services contained in them. And this is where how you can come back to the original product and service. Present those who could be partners, who from even now claim they are giving us 48%. Build or rebuild our continent the establishment of a global recognition fund. $1 billion product. You don't know where to place.
I think we should be able to.
Thank you.
Excellency Ambassador Gabra, thank you very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Johnson.
Thanking everyone for coming. You know the notice was short. We came for the spring meetings and we thought we should kill two birds with one stone. And that's why we, hurriedly put together this meeting. Now, let me clarify that, like I mentioned, right? So, His Excellency the President is about the channel. Because we want you to use the format channel, right? I do understand you give the $2 to your friend, to somebody, that is fine. But when it comes to the significant sums, it is safer when you use the format channel. We have bank and the FTO. One, the cost will be minimal. Two, there will be safety. And in addition to that, we are asking that we think of investment back home. One of the people that was going to speak, but due to lack of time, he cannot speak, is Mr. Very passionate and living Ghana all his life. I had wanted him to share, so you get to understand how some people are managing this. For us at the Central Bank, will continue every sector. Think of the economic, the macroeconomic environment. It was just not favorable for the private sector. And so we have set to work together with the Ministry of Finance, trying to create the appropriate macroeconomic environment. Very important view. Personally, my passion is about the lending rates, right? Lending rates. How to get people to lend lower, much lower than this. And also longer period of the private sector issues to a large extent. Of course, the issues about taxation, our sister spoke about high duty, all right? The Minister of Finance is very much aware of that. All those will be addressed once there's stability. But one where they go to look for one. You know, we have a hospital. It's called the bank hospital. Some of you would have known it, located in the cantonment there. We put it up back in 2016, thereabout. 2015, 2016. It used to be we had a small clinic, treated first aid and all that. But then we decided to scale it up. And the idea then was that Ghanaians travel for certain services. They go to India, they go to Turkey. And we're saying, if we can complement what Kolibu does with some of those high-end services. But the Ghanaians the same door. So that thinking was what brought about the bank hospital. Now it is there. It was completed. It's functioning all right. But you know, last year, we said, why don't we have a kidney center? Because kidney issues are becoming very prevalent in Ghana. It's not our core function. That's not where we operate. But we just say, why don't we do it? Who agreed to this come and who said it? We ask that we give them ticket, we give them a nice place to stay. We give them chances. And so, and those gentlemen are prepared to come at this point. So my question is, can we get some Ghanaians willing to do this? Once it becomes a successful center, then we can be charged.
I am investing into it today.
So I just want to say in closing that aside the remittance channel for the users, when you have any relevance, don't get tired. Keep knocking on the doors. All right. And again, the GIBC CEO is right here. Take his contact. If you intend to invest in Ghana, keep his contact. And then through him or through one of them, just send me an email. Yeah, 11 something. Just write me a letter. Yeah. Everything you said goes to my table. So just send a letter and tell me what problem you are having with any bank. You can solve it, get it resolved. Free. We are ready and willing to help. We believe that Ghana can do far better than we are doing currently. And so for us as Bank of Ghana, that is our resolve. Let me take the opportunity to thank everyone, Her Excellency, the Ambassador, all the senior people that came, and yourself. Yes, we are back home. If you are in town, please approach us. Any of our programs, let us know. There's any issue we are willing to resolve it. So thank you very much.
Mr. Governor, we have a presentation that will be done to you. Please put your hands together for our roundtable. Please approach the governor with the leaders that want to say that, of course, you know that The Diaspora Engagement and Remittance Facilitation Office is open at the head office. Adam Johnny Monte is in charge of that. Adam, let's see where you are. I want to say a special thank you to his team. Lawrence, you've done a great job. West was Party, we thank you. Angela, we thank you. The POG team, where are you? Wave at us, the POG team. We are immensely grateful to make such be with us. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, the Deputy Ambassador, we thank you for sitting through this. This is definitely an investment in Ghana. And as we go to the Volta region for a minute, ladies and gentlemen, my very, very proud of it. And I just want to say on behalf of all of us that this new era, this new opportunity is for us. And African prosperity is in our hands. The African who is not born of Africa or in Africa. Your time is now. Have a wonderful evening.
It will be a time you all welcome. I will thank you. I will be thanking for all the organization. I will thank you. Thank you,